Neil's little baby high-pitched screams make me so happy. His thing is to just like make fun of people and
mostly Kiati Monday.
which
yeah, I mean,
we all do that.
Yeah, who can resist? And they are covered in blood. And it's just this
wow.
Yeah, it's just
Best
this
dressed.
Crazy. There was a death in that was chilling. Like George Mann described it maybe too much. I don't know, but that'll stick with me for a while.
Oh no.
What's up, everyone, and welcome to the last Star Wars Explained weekly Q&A of 2024. I'm Alex.
I'm Molly.
And this week it's not really a Q&A. We had our patrons and commenters do something a little different and send in some superlatives for the year. Something like you might find at the back of a yearbook, like best hair, which would obviously be Hauser.
That's what I won in high school.
Yeah, I believe you.
That's why I fixed my hair today.
You had to show up Hauser.
Yeah.
Leave in the comments below whether or not you think Molly wins best hair over Hauser. Fanporium also sent in an example of most likely to secede instead of succeed, which I thought was very funny. Obviously, that goes to Count Dooku.
That's a very specific one.
Right. We're focusing on 2024, and I don't remember if Count Dooku was in anything major. Probably a comic at least.
He was in there somewhere.
But that was such a good joke, I had to at least shout it out. But yeah, we're going to go through some of our superlatives, a bunch of the ones that our patrons and commenters sent in. And real quick, before we do that, I just wanted to shout out and thank two of our new patrons who joined at the Jedi Master and Council levels this past week for us, which is very generous. But thank you so much, Vacation Mode and Jacob Lightspeed. First on the list is a classic one, Class Clown. You wrote this one down. So who did you have picked for this?
So I was going through on Wikipedia and just kind of looking at everything that was released in the year of 2024, and I came across The Living Force, and that like sprung my memory for Yariel Poof and all of his like silly little pranks. Not even really pranks, but like jokes and pranks that he would do. And I just thought that was hilarious when I was reading the book. It's like, yeah, he's so old and he's been around and done everything that now his thing is to just like make fun of people and
mostly Kiati Monday.
Which is, yeah.
Yeah, I mean,
we all do that.
Yeah, who can resist? It makes me wonder if Yoda went through that phase. Like, did he go through a prankster mode and then come out the other side to being like, you know what? Now I'm tired of that, and I'm gonna go back to being wise.
I mean, his whole bit in Empire Strikes Back to Luke at first is a prank.
Yeah.
He's being very silly.
It's true. So we know he has it in him.
Mm-hmm.
Found someone you have, I would say.
Right.
For me, I just took this as the character that made me laugh the most. And I should say that Molly had this idea for this superlative video not long ago.
Yes, this was a very late addition to our video schedule.
Yeah, so I kind of wish that there were a little more fanfare for every award, so maybe we'll figure that out next year. And B, we didn't like write stuff down throughout the year for this, so a lot of skeleton crew is on my mind. So for Class Clown, I'm gonna say Neil because he makes me laugh the most. He's not a cut up.
He's not.
I mean, but he's funny. He makes me laugh.
Yeah, he's just naturally funny.
Right. So I am going to say Neil, even though I feel like Wim probably fits that a little more.
I thought you were going to say SM33.
Yeah, he's also very funny.
Come on, baby.
Yeah, he's got some great lines. But Neil is the one that is making me laugh the most, at least in very recent memory. I'm sure there were some good comedy moments throughout the year. I could throw Wrecker in there. He always makes me laugh. And sticking with comedy, Cindy K and Audrey R.B. both proposed best comedic moment of the past year. I'm still sticking with Skeleton Crew and Neil, but the biggest laugh I got early on in the series was when Wim and Neil attempt to rappel down that hill together.
Adorable.
Like, that just screamed child logic to me of, I know what rappelling is, so you hold this into the rope and I'm gonna jump, and it will obviously uncurl as I climb down, and it won't yank us both down the hill. Like, that seems like something my friends and I would have done as kids.
You see rappelling and you're like, got it
Right.
as a kid.
Yeah, I was a Cub Scout growing up and a Boy Scout, so I'm like, we surely did something like that. It just felt like childhood to me.
I think best comedic moment for me is probably in Bad Batch with Rampart, when he doesn't want to jump out of the ship and then they throw him out and he has that great scream.
You've got to be kidding! What?
A series of unfortunate events for Edmund Rampart and his no good, very bad day.
And it just makes it so much more fun that we already know who Rampart is. We know what he's like. Like, we get that character, but then we see him in season 3 and he's so different. Well, he's kind of the same, but he's in a different environment.
In a different place, yeah.
A very different environment, and he's having to go along with them and being kind of a baby about it.
He was really great for comedy in that 3rd season. I wasn't expecting to see him again. So to have him appear and be like this Spike in Buffy the Vampire Slayer, like, I'm working with you, but I'm not happy about it kind of vibe.
Yeah.
That was good. And that is connected to another superlative that we had. So let's talk about the best scream. And for this one, I did write down a couple of nominations, and you already brought one up, Rampart. We have to talk about Neil again.
Oh, Neil's little baby high-pitched screams make me so happy. They bring me so much joy, and they are so funny.
The fact that there's been pretty much one per episode, it seems.
He didn't have... So I made it a point. I was like, when we were doing our watch-along earlier, he screams when he, like, hits the trap door, but it's not, like, the high-pitched squeal scream that he has been making. So maybe that's him growing as a character. Yeah,
he's growing up. He's a little more courageous. It's not such a high-pitched scream. It's like a bit of a deeper, like I'm still scared, but I can handle myself scream. I also wanted to just give an honorable mention to this random stormtrooper in the Bad Batch that gets, I think it's in episode 4. He gets like blown off of a tower by the ship, and that is confirmed to be like the new Wilhelm scream, something that they've been using multiple times in other projects.
Do we know where the scream originated from? Because like we know why Wilhelm is called the Wilhelm.
We don't yet. David W. Collins did confirm on Twitter while that episode aired. He was like, this is the new Wilhelm. Maybe someday we will confirm its origins, but for now it remains a mystery. So like I want to go back through the past few years and see if I can find that scream in other spots.
Yeah, I'm sure they want people to do their own research and figure it out.
I mean, it would be fun. It'd be cool to catch that, but that would be a lot of work. So maybe that's a big 2025 goal.
Sure.
I'll find it.
We'll name the scream.
Yeah. Whoever finds it gets it named after them.
Yeah.
Notice how the days are shorter, but your to-do lists aren't? Power through your busy days with Factor's no prep, no mess meals. From breakfast to dinner and anything in between, Factor has easy, nutritious options to keep you fueled and feeling your best. Whether you like routine or enjoy mixing things up, Factor has you covered with 35 different delicious meals every week and over 60 additional convenience options you can add to your box, like keto cookies, pressed juices, and smoothies. Don't let shorter days slow you down. Stay energized with America's #1 ready-to-eat meal delivery service. Factor lets you do you. Choose from 6 menu preferences to help you manage calories, maximize protein intake, avoid meat, or simply eat well balanced. Because Factor's meals are chef-prepared and dietitian approved, you're gonna love not only how Factor's meals taste, but also how they support your goals. And Factor is cheaper than takeout and dining out. Put the money you save towards holiday shopping or reaching your financial goals. Stay on your A-game with quality ingredients you can trust and quality you can taste in every one of Factor's fresh, never-frozen meals. Use your time more efficiently during these dark months. Let Factor take shopping, prepping, cooking, and cleaning off your daily list of things to do. Head to factormeals.com/50starwars and use code 50starwars to get 50% off your first box plus free shipping. That's code 50starwars at factormeals.com/50starwars to get 50% off your first box plus free shipping while your subscription is active. Weirdly, we can just keep talking about Rampart a little bit. Natalie Franchini suggested best beard.
Ooh.
And Rampart does have, it's not very well kempt. He's got like a prison beard.
I mean, yeah,
that's
literally.
where he is. He's in a prison work camp.
Yeah, I do remember people getting excited for his beard.
The answer that I gave for this, my best beard of the year, goes to actually the prison warden on that planet of Erebus. I felt like he had a big, just like square face, and it was because of that beard that he had. I couldn't find a name for him. I think he is just like the warden.
I might have to go with Andor and just like the footage that we've seen so far come out for season 2, because he's got a little more scruff happening.
That feels like cheating, but I'll allow it. Because
everyone got really excited.
You're jumping into 2025 superlatives.
But that came out in 2024.
Yes, the footage did. I'm just saying that in 2025, you're going to have to find a different answer. You can't have Andor 2 years in a row.
I know.
I'm just giving you crap.
I agree with Rampart, but I wanted to pick something different.
No, he does. His Ferrex beard in season 1, I liked it a lot and was kind of like, when he shaved it.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, there's some good shots of him with now like a well-kempt, I'm a spy beard.
Yeah.
Brino Lira and Cece Pruitt both suggested best dressed. So this is another like classic kind of superlative.
See, my brain automatically goes back to Andor, but I can't do that because that...
You can, I guess.
No, I won't, because we haven't seen much of him in the footage for season 2.
You can say Mon Mothma. She's already got another few looks out there.
That is true.
And we know Krennic is back. He's always got that cape on.
What did you pick for this one?
I picked Aslan Rel because he is one of my new favorite characters in the High Republic, especially in Phase 3. He was in Phase 2, but he was like a standard Jedi. But then what happens to him in between Phases 2 and 3, and this was in 2023, but like he has this big reveal where he rips his cloak off and he's got his white and gold Jedi robes and they are covered in blood, and it's just this
wow.
Yeah, it's just
best
this
dressed
crazy but he's blind, he doesn't know what he's wearing.
Man, you're covered in blood.
He put on his robes
he's
and
like,
he's
no one told me.
I want to look nice. He's just covered in blood. But like, that's such a stark image. It's a cool costume. I mean, to me, best dressed means coolest costume.
Okay. In that case, I just thought of this and I feel bad that it took me this long. Indy 5 with his coat.
You said Indy 5 and my first reaction was, that's a movie.
No, not Indy 5.
Yeah. The coat.
Yeah.
Of course, the duster.
Yeah. Best dressed droid, but also just best dressed in general, because everyone was like, oh my god, why is that droid sexy with the coat?
This such a sexy droid? And like, that coat is doing so much heavy lifting.
Oh yeah.
So yeah, I mean, that's a great answer of just a droid who knows how to accessorize. And look, like, I've changed everything about me.
Yeah.
I came off the assembly line, now I'm hot.
Because I was thinking of Kay, and because she's got that rad jacket, but then immediately I was like, oh wait, everyone made a big to-do about Indy 5 and his duster.
It is true, like, choosing a video game character, you know, they have so many customizable options. So Kay should be in the running. She looks great in the Crimson Dawn outfit. You've got Nyx has little outfits you can wear.
So many little Nyx outfits, you're right.
But Indy 5, I think, that might be the choice, because it is just a coat, and it shook the world to its core. We're doing a good job at keeping these kind of bouncing from one to another. We can keep talking about Outlaws a little bit, because Natalie Franchini suggested cutest new character. And, I mean, you have to put Nyx in the running. I also wrote down Batcher and Baron from the Bad Batch, and, of course, Neil. Or Tulu. Well, that, like, how do you start to fight between Tulu and his brothers?
Yeah, I mean, his brothers are obviously very cute, but part of the cuteness factor for me, for Neil, is just knowing his personality a little bit more, and I think that adds to it for me.
Sure.
He wins best new cutie pie for me.
Best new cutie pie. Over Tulu. I am surprised by that, because you made a crazy noise when you first saw him.
Yeah.
I'm like drawn towards Batcher for this. Batcher and Nyx are my two that I'm trying to decide between.
We should have had a best goodest boy award,
and
they all win it.
Yeah, that's true. We could just say they all win. But Batcher, of course, reminds me of Hilo. Nyx is like this cross between a dog and a cat, and is such a good companion, and was probably my favorite part about Outlaws. Using Nyx to cheat in Sabacc, or like doing the quick time event meals with Nyx, where you're just like feeding your pet. I didn't even know that they offered Nyx upgrades for a while. I just liked playing the little food quick time games with him. So it is, if it's just best goodest boy, then Batcher, even though I think Batcher's a girl, and Nyx, it's a tie. They both win, but I think I'm going to go with Nyx for best cutest new character, because I do consider Nyx a full-on character.
Oh, yeah.
Stephen Crawford suggested best Legends reference or Easter egg.
So the one I wrote down, I don't know if this counts because it's not really Legends, but the holiday special.
Yeah, that's absolutely Legends.
Okay. I mean, just because
George Lucas considers it probably not even Legends.
Well, there's this like renaissance of the holiday special, and there's merch and all kinds of stuff for that. So I didn't know if that counted, but the holiday special bit in Skeleton Crew, now that we've seen it pop up twice, I'm like, that's a pretty big deal.
I do think that's a great one.
I do wonder what George Lucas, if he even has seen that, what he thinks of that. He's kind of like, it's getting a little too close.
I remember back for The Mandalorian season 1, some of the behind the scenes stuff. Jon Favreau was showing him George Din's blaster. He was like, recognize this? It's from the holiday special. And George is like,
great.
Neat.
You're pushing it.
Yeah. My favorite Legends pick for the year is Cortosis from The Acolyte. That was something I wasn't expecting. I do think Cortosis has been mentioned in canon already, but to see it in live action on screen, that's always something that excites me. And I remember when it was happening in our reaction, I'm like, Cortosis? Is that Cortosis? Did he just use Cortosis? And you were like, shut up about Cortosis.
Stop saying the word.
And let me watch this fight.
Yeah, it was cool to see it being used in the specific way with lightsabers, to see how he could block a lightsaber with it. And even if it had been mentioned before, it definitely was a big deal after Acolyte.
I also like that there was a discussion of basically power balance, where it is kind of more powerful than Beskar. Like, it will disable a lightsaber, but it's far more brittle. So, like, you can break it apart like Jackie does with her lightsaber hilt, but it will deactivate a lightsaber blade. So it just feels like it's evening things out. I'm going to use the Cortosis to jump into one of our next superlatives, best lightsaber moment. And I'm just going to say it's still the Cortosis headbutt. I mean, that not only was he using Cortosis, but to just like headbutt a lightsaber out was so rad. I was like over the moon with how he was using his helmet and his vambrace and stuff.
It's so over the top, but yeah, if your helmet is made of that stuff, why wouldn't you? Lightsaber moment for me has to go to Osha bleeding the crystal in Soul's lightsaber.
Yet another very cool thing to see on screen.
Yeah.
That it's been wild to watch bleeding become more and more prevalent. And I think someone, I forget who it was on Twitter or online, said that bleeding came originally from George Lucas. And that was...
I thought that was a Charles Soule thing.
I think it was then passed to Charles Soule, and he was the first person to depict it in a comic. And then we saw it in Star Wars Jedi Survivor. Then we saw it in The Acolyte. And to see it become more and more...
In the Ahsoka book. Reverse bleeding, I guess.
Reverse bleed, yeah. I will say that I considered what just happened and Wim igniting the lightsaber upside down.
Yeah, that's true.
And I was like, I can't put so many things in Skeleton Crew. But like, we just rewatched the episode today. I've seen it 3 times now. And every time he gets up and like stands up to confront Jod, I get chills knowing he's about to mess it up. But like seeing that look of determination on his face and knowing he's going to try to do what's right and be brave with a lightsaber, I'm like, I love that. And then I love that he is a kid and he messes it up, and like it's hilarious and heartbreaking at the same time. So that's an honorable mention for me.
He looks so defeated and embarrassed, and I just feel so bad for him.
Like I feel bad because I laughed at him. I'm like, oh, poor kid, you'll get your moment, I hope. And we'll stick with lightsabers and just talk about the best lightsaber duel of the year.
Mine has to be just all the lightsaber fighting in the episode Night for Acolyte. Like, first off, just seeing Chimere's or the Stranger's lightsaber and how it kind of like twisted apart and became two was awesome. All the lightsaber fighting in that episode was great. Jackie had some like really sick moves, just perfection. Everybody lost their minds over the lightsaber stuff specifically from that episode.
Fully agree. That was my pick as well. Just the Stranger versus everybody was so much fun to watch. That moment where Jackie is like kind of twirling with Kelnaka's saber and her saber, and I mean, it's right before she dies, but that moment is so baller. Mm-hmm. I love all of the choreography from that episode. Next up, Oncoming Storm 7 suggests best new ship.
Definitely Onyx Cinder for me. It's really growing on me, and just the fact that the engine pieces kind of like twist up and down, and everything about that ship is really cool, even if it is dirty and messed up and like super janky.
But I agree, that gives it character. It's the same way that everyone kind of sees the Millennium Falcon and they're like, what a piece of junk, and they underestimate this thing. And this is like literally there's dirt coming off of it. It's like the pigpen of ships, and everyone that sees it is like, ugh.
That thing?
In the most recent episode, it like parts are falling off of it and liquids coming out of it, and like that hotel manager is like, oh god, we got to get a pressure washer up here. But yeah, the Onyx Cinder is my pick as well. I was gonna honorable mention the Trailblazer from Outlaws, and for a design, I really like the CX Trooper. That I think they called it like a dagger, but it was like a tiny little triangle ship that he flew around.
Yeah, I forgot about that.
But yeah, it's Onyx Cinder for me as well.
1 in 5 Americans have learn a new language on their bucket list. If that's you, make 2024 the year you finally check it off the list with Babbel, the science-backed language learning app that actually works. Don't pay hundreds of dollars for private tutors or waste hours on apps that don't really help you speak the language. Babbel's quick 10-minute lessons are handcrafted by over 200 language experts to help you start speaking a new language in as little as 3 weeks. Babbel's convenient courses teach you real-life conversation skills in different languages, so it's easy to learn how to order food, ask for directions, and more without having to consult an app while on vacation. Babbel has over 16 million subscriptions sold, plus all of Babbel's 14 award-winning language courses are backed by their 20-day money-back guarantee. Here's a special limited-time deal for our listeners. Right now, get up to 60% off your Babbel subscription, but only for our listeners at babbel.com/Star Wars. Get up to 60% off at babbel.com/Star Wars, spelled BABBEL.com/Star Wars. Rules and restrictions may apply. For another best new, we're going to do droids. Mine's an obvious answer. It's SM33. He's the one that's at the top of my mind right now.
You insolent!
I do want to give honorable mention to ND5 and also Servo from Rebuild the Galaxy. That was like a surprise. A talking gonk droid is just so fun. And I want to give some special mention to the Lego Star Wars universe. I feel like it doesn't get put into the conversation, even when we're talking about the past Star Wars stories of the year. But that was a really fun one, and he was a really fun droid.
It's so hard to pick between the droid characters that came out this year, so I'm going to go with the little dancing droids that we saw come out at Galaxy's Edge. I don't even know what they're called. I didn't get to see them in person. I've just seen videos of them, but it's like the droid makers will come out in Galaxy's Edge in the park. And these little, they kind of look like...
They're basically BD droids.
They look like BD droids, but a little bit... Chunkier. And they just come out and they dance. And they're so cute.
They dance and they do that, like, the tiniest little jump.
Yeah.
They, like, wiggle their butts and they're like, heh, and get, like, a millimeter off the ground. I think that's a wonderful answer. Delightful.
And I'm sure a lot of work went into making, because it's all practical. So it's impressive and fun.
Those droids got big on social media, and I feel like that's a good segue into this next one. Best fandom moment of the year. So just like a time that the fandom came together, did something fun.
It's funny picking an Acolyte one for this one because the fandom seemed very hit or miss and divided over the Acolyte, but I'm going to go with Yord Horde. Just the whole idea of the Yord Horde stuff.
That was really fun to see happen in real time. Like, I was someone who already liked Yord before the series began because I knew he had a stick up his ass. And I was like, I'm going to relate to this character.
I like that
guy. I like that man. But to see that so many other people felt the same way.
Yeah.
They were like, look at this guy. He's got a stick up his ass. We like him. Yord Horde.
Yord Horde.
That they found a name for it. And then that StarWars.com, like the social team jumped on it and got stickers made and got Charlie involved, and he got to see all the love that was going around based off of this.
Yeah, we got some stickers and some tissues still around here somewhere, but it was so crazy how fast that they got that stuff done, because there was no way to predict that Yord Horde was going to be a thing. Like, that wasn't part of their official marketing.
Right.
So that was impressive.
And I love that they've kind of prepped for that for Skeleton Crew. They like had Neil Nation stickers ready to go and buttons and stuff.
Yeah, they were like, let's get ahead of this trend.
Yeah, smart. I'm going to go with something that happened a long time ago, but the fandom finally found out about it this past year. Cerveza Crystal.
Oh, yeah.
Cerveza Cristal.
Like, that's one of my favorite Star Wars things that happened this year, period.
Yeah,
because it was
really
just
good.
So funny. It produced countless memes. We did a cosplay of it at Dragon Con. Like, I don't know why it brings me so much joy.
That might be our most watched TikTok. And
Yeah.
it was just us talking about making this Cerveza Crystal bit joke in one of our Q&As, and I just like cut it up and put it on TikTok. And we got to drink our actual Cerveza Crystal beers that someone sent us. Do we have video of that somewhere?
I think that's on my phone. We definitely put it out as a reel or TikTok or something.
That's right. Yeah.
This is one from Molly that I liked. Best Somehow They Returned.
I was thinking of how to fit Ventress in here somewhere. Right. And for her to be in the Somehow They Returned category, I thought was perfect.
I think it's funny that there are multiple answers to this.
Yeah.
Like, per year. I think Ventress has to be the answer as well. But for me, personally, my best surprise return was the Zillow Beast. Like, anytime we can get an answer to a question that's been asked over and over and over, I'm like, thank you. And now it's just wandering around on Wayland, so it's still out there somewhere.
I guess we didn't even really talk much about Tales of the Empire, but Barisafi.
I was going to mention her as an honorable mention. She's been lingering out there for a long time. That's another one that Dave Filoni's like, oh, her story's not done. And he's been saying that for 10 years.
But now we don't really know. Like, we're just at another conundrum with her now.
Right. Did she die? Did she not? Ventress is the best answer because we thought she was dead. Like, I mean, she died.
She has a
she
very
full-on died.
Clear and precise death moment. And like, that's like the whole end of that book.
Yeah.
So. And
honestly, the Zillow Beast came back in season 2, but it was nice to have it followed up on. It came back again.
And we knew it would because they took it, and we were like, they're using it on Mount Tantus.
Yeah. So, like, mine is a bit of a cheat. So Ventress has to be the pick for the year. I'll stick with the Bad Batch a little bit. This one's one of my superlatives, but most improved character. I mean, Crosshair. Like, the fact that they believably brought him back into the fold, gave him a redemption and an atonement arc, allowed him to face his trauma and struggle with it. He wasn't just like a superhero the whole season. Like, he felt guilt over what he did. I was like, thank you, Star Wars. Thank you for not killing him.
That has to win for me too, because I was convinced throughout like season 1 and 2 that I just didn't really care about Crosshair, that he might have been a lost cause, and the show completely changed my mind and brought him back in 3.
It reminded me a lot of Zuko and The Last Airbender. Like, it wasn't as good as Zuko for me, but they did a really good job of giving him kind of an episode with everyone who needed time with him, and letting them all come to terms again and learning to trust him again. I thought it was very well handled. Ormappa suggested best death of the year.
Going back to Acklay, we gotta say Yord and Jackie. I think they tie for this one.
Yeah, I mean, they happen so close to each other. I'll say some honorable mentions. I wrote Hemlock down just because I thought he was a great villain. He gets shot like 8 times and then falls, and I was kind of hoping the Zillow Beast would be like,
yeah.
pick him out of the air. I'm not going to go into full detail on this one because you're still reading Tears of the Nameless, but there was a death in that was chilling. Like, George Mann described it maybe too much. I don't know, but it was like, that'll stick with me for a while.
Oh no.
So let me know when you get to that part.
Oh,
You'll probably know it when you see it.
Oh.
But I have to agree, like, Yord and Jecki, especially Jecki, because my reaction to that I love, because I was loving seeing her just full on attack the stranger, and then he splits his saber apart, and I was like, wow, and then she gets stabbed 3 times, and like, just a roller coaster of emotions.
Yeah, the response to those 2 deaths particularly, and everyone, like, how shocked everyone was, that is why this is winning this one for me.
And the big award of the year, our final one we're going to talk about, is Best Glup Shitto. This comes from Ben Chance. I'm going to just go ahead and say that this is not a comprehensive list. It's not my official final answer, but because we decided to do this so late, racking my brain for like a day, and also Skeleton Crew once again fresh on my mind. Part of me wants to go with Pocket from episode 5, just because that screams Glup Shitto to me. She might become more and more important, but like, character design, awesome voice, like sinister acting. She's only in like 2 major scenes, and I was immediately like, I want to know so much more about you. I hope that you are in future Mandoverse stories.
Yeah, great contacts, great hair.
In the event that she becomes more and more important, I'm going to pick another Gluppier Shitto. I'm going to say the Ishi Tib that gets shot in the eye in the opening scene of Skeleton Crew.
Yes.
Just because that's so Star Wars, so rad. Like, he gets hit in the eye. I'm sure it hurt, but that's not where his brain is. So he's like, that's not that big of a deal.
Yeah.
I'll just get an eye patch later.
Such a badass moment for him to get shot and then turn around and shoot back.
So cool.
I think mine is going to be Baron, the little Force-sensitive baby from Bad Batch.
I was like, Molly's going to pick a baby. I just don't know which baby. It's going to be Baron or Tulu or...
Yeah, they were all... Obviously, some of my runner-ups for, like, cutest new Cutie Pie character, but I like this for Glup Shitto because it was like a small, literally a small character. I don't know. Yeah.
Well, yeah, he was great. You loved him.
I don't know if people agree that the cutest characters are also the Glup Shitto characters. I think some people might argue that it can't be something super duper cute like that.
To me, everyone has to define Glup Shitto for themselves.
Sure.
I'm like, as long as it's not Luke Skywalker or Han Solo or Anakin, like, if it's just someone that's off to the side, and Baron had the central focus to the Bad Batch for quite a while.
Yeah.
But like, most Star Wars fans don't know who that is.
Right.
So if he were to show up in live action and Molly's like, oh my God, Baron's in this, and people would be like, who the heck is Baron? Like, that's a Glup Shitto.
He's so cute.
Some people consider Wedge Antilles to be a Glup Shitto, and I'm like, that's like the basic answer for who's your favorite side or background character.
Whoever your Glup Shitto is depends on how deep into the fandom you are.
Right. It's a good thermometer for how imbalanced you are as a Star Wars fan. But that's all the time we have for superlatives and Glup Shittos today. Let us know all of your answers down in the comments. You can still make your own superlatives up and put them down there.
I'm sure we missed a ton of really good ones.
Yeah. Like I said, I think next year we will plan on doing this, and starting January 1st, we can start to take note of like, oh, I really liked that comedic beat, or that person has great hair. I mean, I probably should have put Pocket in the running for great hair. I love that braid. So we'll try to be a little more thorough next year and have a little more fanfare and design around this.
Yeah, maybe like after each thing comes out, like a show, a book, or whatever, we can sit down and like jot down some ideas for superlatives.
Exactly. So we'll try to have a more exciting version of this video at the end of 2025. But until then, please like this video, subscribe to the channel.
Follow us on Twitter, Instagram, TikTok, Threads, and Blue Sky.
And as always, thanks for watching. May the Force be with you, and have a very happy and safe New Year.